Okay, the third type of question that really messes with students with regard to content takes place in question 32 right here, which is one of those classic questions where they ask you, where should this sentence go in such and such a paragraph? And what makes this a very confusing situation is not only do you have a question and then you have to read the sentence and then you have possible answers down here, you also then in that particular paragraph have some things there that you didn't have in the other paragraphs, namely sentence one, sentence two, sentence three, sentence four. So that's what makes this puzzling, because you have some things in the text that you didn't have in the rest of the test. And so this is where people could get confused, because these are disruptors. And if you have attention deficit disorder like I do, it gets easily confusing. But when you look at question 30, and also what makes it hard too is question 31 was embedded in this thing, and question 32 is what's at the end of it. You have a lot of disruptions to the ability to answer this question correctly. Nonetheless, I'm going to give you how you should approach a question like this based upon the situation. So you have a paragraph here. It says, now, however, more attention is paid to the historical quality of the artworks. Some historians writing today even go so far as to say that dirt and grime themselves are parts of the historical fabric of a painting and thus should be left in. Others argue that the purity of the painting is all that matters. They will restore the original look of a painting, even if that means fixing the painting by some non-paint means. So there's the paragraph. Clues then in the sentence are where we should start. So the first thing I'm looking at is, for example, a recent restoration at Harvard's Art Museum involved precisely calibrating lights that would correct the color damage to a series of murals done by Mark Rothko in the 1960s. When I see the key words of "for example," that means somewhere in that paragraph there was a claim, and that what was going to follow it needed to be an example of some sort. So if I'm looking through, some art historians writing today even go so far as to say that dirt and grime themselves are parts of the historical fabric and should be left in. If I put, for example, a recent restoration at Harvard's Art Museum undid the color damage, that is not an example of what that is. So we can eliminate um, two as one of the answers. Others argue that the purity of the painting is all that matters. For example, a recent restoration of that's not about the purity of the painting. They actually are changing the color damage done to the painting. So you can eliminate that one as an option. They Others argue that, so we did that. They will restore the original look of the painting, even if that means fixing the painting by some non-paint means. For example, a recent restoration that involved calibrated lights helped get the color damage undone. This example only fits after question 4, which is why the correct answer for this is D, after sentence 4. So you should look for clues within the transitional phrases and within the sentence that should tell you where it should be. You see a transition that says, for example, or to illustrate. That's going to be a clue of where it should probably be. There should probably be a claim in front of it, and then the for example should be evidence to support it. If you're reading a paragraph and it's a series of things taking place, then the transitional phrase might read first, or to add, additionally, thus, hence, next. But the transitional phrase will give you a clue as to what kind of sentence was in front of it. And then you have to match the content of what's inside of that sentence to where it should strategically be placed within the paragraph. That crushed a lot of students on that, and I wanted to make sure that I addressed how you approach it.